on that. Let's go to the Comcast Business Hotline. Bounce forward with Comcast, and Dan Orlovsky joins us here on the John Kincaid Show. And Dan, I was asking, we're having the discussion a little earlier now because we're trying to connect the dots of whether Indianapolis, now that they've had their quarterback move on, Phillip Rivers, after an amazing career, and you had some great stuff on SportsCenter yesterday about it. Is it now logical to think there is a landing spot for Carson Wentz?
Oh, absolutely. You know, obviously the track record between the two, the coach and the quarterback is there. You know, I think a big deal is what Chris Ballard's view on it is. You know, Chris Ballard, I thought, had a great piece, I don't know, a week or two ago when he was talking about the importance of finding their next quarterback, but also finding the right one. And he made the emphasis, like, listen, all you guys as the media world want me to get our next quarterback, but it's not just me getting the next quarterback, it's getting the right one. And if Chris Ballard, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter if Frank Reich loves Carson Wentz, because Chris Ballard has to as well. You know, Chris Ballard, it was easier for Chris Ballard to love Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers had 15 years of a track record of playing the position at a high level, where, you know, Carson's coming off of this season. And so I think that's a big question mark, is what Ballard's viewpoint is on with Carson Wentz, both as a player and then where he is, you know, mentally. I've emphasized that all year. And so, but I do believe that now Phillip being gone opens up the more realistic question of, do they want to go and try and see what it costs to get Carson Wentz?
Dan, if Carson Wentz is still here and a new coach is hired, is it more important that he come out and openly say, we're going to fix Carson Wentz, or to diffuse it in my thinking of, look, this is an organization that is struggling. I need to fix the organization, not just Carson Wentz?
Yeah, both. It's the latter, by far. And because once you come out and say, I'm here to fix Carson Wentz, one, you're putting everything on his shoulders, and you have just a singular goal here rather than a multi-layered goal. And two, you know, like, you're pointing fingers completely at one person. And again, that's more like a unnecessary pressure. You've got to come out and say, okay, and really, like, I think a big goal for the new head coach is to say, I'm coming to build off of a foundation that's been relatively or laid relatively well by Doug Peterson. Like, there was success there, and there is a foundation there of expectation. And so my goal is to come and build off of that and take these pieces that are here and grow it. And yes, part of that is making sure that you're very clear. I didn't take this job thinking that Carson Wentz wasn't part of the plan. I took this job in part because Carson Wentz is here, and I like Carson Wentz as a player, and I believe he can be a very high-level player at the position. Now, part of my job is to get the best out of him, and I'm going to demand that. Our staff is going to demand that. But we're also going to need our tailbacks to play great, and we're going to need our offensive line to play really good football, and our wide receivers to win on the perimeter and make plays. And so it's got to be that collaborative effort. But no, make no mistake about it. Like, that coach who's coming there is coming with the thought process of, I'm here to make sure that I bring Carson Wentz back to form.
Dan, I got to tell you, too, is if Chris Ballard yesterday with Adam Schefter joining us on the show, and Adam spoke so glowingly of Ballard and his reputation. Mm-hmm. If Ballard is interested in getting his hands on Wentz, then that tells me the Eagles don't know what they've got, and they're just not handling it properly.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I mean, if Chris Ballard, who the track record and obviously in the short period of time that he's done in Indy, if he's going, yep, give me that guy, it's worth X pick. I don't know. I think they have like the 23rd pick or something like that, or 24th pick. Like, if he's going, hey,
21st.
Yeah, if I'm going to give you that for Carson Wentz, that certainly has to, you know, weigh on the Eagles situation and go, wait. Like, are we making the right decision here? Now, the finances of it do factor in. The cap, you know, Indy's got such great cap freedom where we all know that the Eagles have a little bit of cap restriction going on, right? So that would play its part. But, yeah, if there's going to be a general manager and a coach that both look at the player and go, yeah, give me that person, I know what I can get out of him, then that should be certainly a warning shot to be like that would be an issue moving forward.
All right, Dan, this is going to sound like a dumb question.
He's not surprised. Dan paused.
If you look at Championship Sunday, you probably have the 4 MVPs of the league. Yep. Now I understand the trenches matter. Does anything matter outside of quarterback? When you boil it down, bottom line, does anything else really matter?
That was a dumb question.
But it's not. Well, yes, I know it matters, but can you consistently be in Championship Sunday without that guy?
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. But this is where we all fall into a trap. This is literally one of the reasons why I got into media, because it's easy for us to simplify it and be like, man, look at the quarterback. By the way, Aaron Rodgers is still playing quarterback in Green Bay just like he was 2-3 years ago when they were struggling. So, like, what are the other things that matter? Gosh, just as much. Look at the coaches. I can make the case right now that these are also the 3 out of the 4 best play callers in the NFL right now with Andy Reid, Dable, and Matt LaFleur. Look at the wide receiver talent and the tight end talent. Kelsey, Diggs, Devontae Adams. Were there 3 better pass catchers in the NFL this season? Absolutely not. Look at the offensive lines. You know who's got the best offensive line in football? Green Bay. You know who's got the second best offensive line in football? Tampa Bay. You know, so it's like there's so many different pieces. Here's the thing. When you've got those other pieces there, that's when the quarterback talent kind of just becomes the shining moment. Where, like, that's when the quarterbacks separate themselves. You get out sometimes where, like, those other parts, the offensive line or the receivers or the backs, like, they fall off a little bit and the quarterback can carry them for some stretch. But when those pieces, elements, variables are around the quarterback like they are, that's when you have the quarterbacks going, oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers has got 57 touchdowns and 1 interception. Josh Allen's got 45 touchdowns. Tom Brady's got 46 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes has got 40 touchdowns. Like, that's when you see those guys become different animals.
Dan, if I gave you one word that you're allowed to answer with, and the word is either rebuild or retool, the new coach of the Philadelphia Eagles calls you up on the phone and says, hey, Dan, I know you know the Eagles. I know you really watch them. Oh, am I looking at a rebuild or am I looking at a retool? What is your answer to him?
Rebuild.
I'm fine with that, by the way. I'm all on board for a 3-13 if it gets this thing fixed faster.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rebuild here. I mean, first of all, you're going to have some pieces come back that on your offensive line that are young. You're also going to have some pieces come back on your offensive line that are older and don't have a ton of years left. So you have to start in the rebuilding of that offensive line. You have to rebuild it. And I want to put an asterisk here. Like, I don't know if Carson Wentz is dead set on staying in Philadelphia, in my opinion. So, like, if he does, you're going to have to rebuild the quarterback's confidence. You're going to have to rebuild your linebacking core. You've got to rebuild your secondary. So, like, yeah, this is not a retooling where 1 or 2 pieces away. Guys, this is 13 games won in the last 2 years, okay? You know, so this is very much so like you got to start rebuilding this roster. Now, could it be a quick rebuild? Absolutely. But this is not just, hey, we're 1 good draft away from getting back to 11, 12 wins.
Dan, could Jalen Hurts or Carson Wentz be that shining piece if all the things you talked about, offensive line, running back, wide receiver, if that all comes together, could one of those two be that shining guy at quarterback?
I think it's much more likely that it would be Carson Wentz. Like, I liked what Jalen did last year, and he showed some stuff, but it was 4 games. He also showed some stuff that gives you a ton of hesitation. You know, how quickly defenses minimized his impact. And, you know, you can only go so long with running the football as, like, what you do as a dominant strength at that position. You know, it's at some point the throwing has to match the running. And so I think that if it was going to be one of them, it's far and away going to be Carson Wentz. But I said this just briefly ago, like, the fact that Carson hasn't said anything in any way, shape, or form, to me, says that he still wants out.
May I say that, Dan, the reason you got into the media is because you would be talking about football if you had went into architecture, if you had went into accounting. Let's be honest. That's why you went into the media. Let's be honest with the audience.
Well, you sound like my wife right now. Like, right when I retired in 17, like, I actually started to delve into, like, the business world. And I was like, yeah, man, I need a break from football. I've been doing it for, like, 27 years or something. She was looking at me like, you're an absolute idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
Can you imagine Orlovsky, your financial advisor?
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dan Orlovsky. We got to get you in some stocks over here. Then we're going to get you into this over here. You'd be this rolling through this thing. What would it have been, Dan, if it hadn't been media? What would it have been? do you think?
Oh, man.
What did you major in?
Yeah.
Well, he went to
Football.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Majored in football.
Exactly.
Literally, my GPA my freshman year at school was a .67. I went FFFB. Okay?
Wow.
So, like, very clearly I went to school for football.
That's absolutely awesome. Dan Orlovsky, we always appreciate you, man. Have a great time, man.
Thanks, guys. Be good.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it. Good to
Dan.
have Dan Orlovsky join us here on the Comcast Business Hotline Bounce Forward.